Just a little update as to what's going on in my little man cave here, I guess. I got a couple of decorations for the top of my radio. I thought they were cool. Paid a total of, I think, $2 for the both of them. This one's still wrapped in the package. Kind of neat. That's real glass, by the way, and so is this. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is I picked up a CD the other day at a flea market. It was Jackie Gleason and his orchestra, and I'm playing it through my computer, and I'm running it into my transmitter from the speaker on the computer and transmitting it through the house, and it's on AM, so it's not going to be perfect, you know, but that way I can listen to it. Wifey's got me in a clean out mood today. She said to clean out my closet. She wants to sit there and watch me clean out my closet. I got tons of clothes that need to go I never use, so we're going to be doing that. So might as well listen to what I'd like to hear. So that's what we're listening to right now. That's CD coming out of the CD player on the computer. You can't beat a transmitter, guys. You got to build one. An AM transmitter or FM transmitter, whichever. They just come in so handy. I also picked up a couple of albums. Pristine condition. Pristine. Jackie Gleason. Again, I really like his albums. I paid 25 cents for this thing. Not a scratch on it. Beautiful, beautiful record. Same thing. I picked up another one. Love, Embers, and Flame. Another Jackie Gleason. 25 cents. Pristine condition. Both of them. I don't know where they've been kept, but this one here, I also picked up this one. I already have it, but I think this one's in better condition. It's still got the plastic on the outside. Another 25 cents. And this one here, another 25 cents. Paid $1 for all four. All Jackie Gleason. Good stuff, huh? I've also gotten pretty lucky on my old-time radio show cassette tape finds on eBay. All that stuff, some of those guys want up to $50 for a pack of these old-time radio shows on cassette tape, like old-time radio greatest detectives, you know. This is got 60 programs, 20 cassettes, and some of them want usually around $25 to $30, all the way up to $50, some of them, and they're not in as good a shape as these. I got lucky. I was able to buy old-time radio greatest detectives, greatest westerns, and I just kept waiting and biding my time. And here's some greatest old-time radio shows by CBS. And I already had, let me see, there's enough shows in here to last me over a year. I already had the New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes and old-time radio greatest shows. And I was able to get these between $6 and $8 a pack. Got real lucky. And you just make an offer, you know, they want $10. One guy, he wanted like $15 or something like that. So I contacted him. I said, I'll give you 10. And he came back with an answer like, well, I can't take 10. It's trending right now at, I think it was 12 or something like. No, I know what it was. I offered him 8. He wanted, I think, 15. I offered him 8. And he come back and said he'd have to have 10.50 because that's what they were trending at right now. What do I care about their trending? I don't care about trending. I'm a buyer. They can trend it whatever they want. You know, take the price, yes or no. As it turned out, I wound up buying it for $8 anyway from someone else. And one other thing I wanted to show folks who might collect or want to collect these old-time radio shows, or just buy them and listen to them. In 1998, there was a book that came out by John Dunning. As you can see, it's a thick sucker. It's the Encyclopedia of Old-Time Radio, just like it says. And I'll tell you what, if it was an old-time radio, it's in this encyclopedia. I asked wifey to buy it for me. It came out in '98, and I think she bought it for me in 2001. I found out about it somehow. And boy, I'll tell you what, there is some really, really good information in there. On the guy that did this, he probably did it in collaboration with a lot of other people, but there is massive information on these things. I don't know what she paid for, but I think they're asking more now for it. But this is a great, great book for anyone with any interest in old-time radio. Of course, I still have my Burns and Allen tapes here, cassette tapes, and I also have our Rocky Fortune. You all remember that was Frank Sinatra starred in that. Has, I think, a couple of seasons there. And I have some Duffy's Taverns. I can't get enough of these old-time radio shows. I just can't help it, you know. I didn't hear that many when I was a kid. I just sort of one day got interested in them when I was living in Virginia, and then bam, I just couldn't get away from them. I just like them that much. Every time I see them on eBay. Now there are some other ones on eBay I'd like to buy, but again, they're asking stupid prices. I'm just going to wait until I find one where the price is low. But $6 to $8 for all of these. Some of them are asking 50 bucks a piece. So you can do it if you have patience. I'll tell you what. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of the Jackie Gleason album. These things are in pristine condition. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Just like they're brand new. Isn't that great music? God, Gleason knew how to do it. Now he didn't play in a band or anything. This is the Jackie. He put this stuff together and produced these albums. He knew exactly what the public wanted. Good stuff. You want to relax? Buy a Jackie Gleason album. Oh, buddy, he likes to come into my room. We still hang around together in here, don't we, sweetheart? You're my baby, my little boy. He's still so scared all the time. I wish he hadn't been treated badly when he was younger. I don't know. I took, gosh, I guess 2 full garbage bags out. Great big giant bags. I still had this much left. You know, all I need, I got shirts today I haven't even worn yet, you know. I'm one of these guys. Give me 2 shirts, 2 pair of pants, a couple of t-shirts. I'm a happy camper. I don't even know why I need all this crap. I'll tell you what, before it's over, I'll probably get rid of a lot more. I'm just one of those guys that I just don't need a lot of clothes. For those of you who have been watching the Thunderbird videos, you know that I cleaned this entire area up here, and in the process, I dug out a couple of chairs I had over there. They've been sitting there for quite a while. I was going to get rid of them because, you know, the ends, they were sitting on our deck for quite a while, and the ends were real rusty and all that. And they wobbled back and forth, and I was just going to dump them. But then I got thinking, I said, you know, I got this great big open area here. You know, if somebody comes to visit or wants to sit down and talk about the car, or one of our grandsons or my son or whomever, I don't even have a place for people to sit. So why not go ahead and try to salvage these 2 chairs and just kind of set them off in the wall there against the wall. If someone comes over, I can pull them out. We can sit side by side and shoot the breeze. So what we're going to do is this will give me a chance to check out my first time air tool here. See if I can't use this baby along with my big old 20-gallon tank here. See if I can't cut these off. I've already measured them to the length I want. We're just going to cut off as much as needed, nothing more. And then I've got the plastic plugs to put in the bottom, and the chair will be maybe a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch lower than it was when it was new, but what the heck, you know. At least they're salvaged, and that's what I plan to do. I'll let you know how it goes after I cut them off. Of course, the first thing we need before we get started, safety glasses. Never do any kind of grinding or cutting on metal of any kind without safety glasses. It's very, very important. Well, that takes care of that. The ends are cut off. It was pretty rusty, pretty far up in there. They really needed to be chopped off. Anyway, we're up to good metal right now, and I'm going to put the caps in. But first, we have to take our little file. If I can find the dumb thing, I just had it in my hand. Oh, here it is. The file. I got to file the burr off on the inside of the leg. Then I'm going to take some of this emery cloth, and we'll go around the outside. We'll do that to all 4 legs before we pound those little plastic things in. We are ready to go. Here's the first 2. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on them here to kind of help them go in a little easier. And then we'll just go ahead and, let me see, we'll just put one on up in there. Yeah, we got oil all the way around. We'll just set it right on up in there, like so. Then I'll just take my ball peen hammer and hammer them on down. and then we'll have to take the plugs out of the end of the pipes up there and use them for the legs here. Alright, here's the last one. There we go. Let's flip her up and see how she sits. Hopefully she won't rock. Look at that. Nice and solid. Nice and solid. Give her a wiggle around. Nope, she's good. Alright. Chair number 1 done. We'll do number 2. Well, that's that. All done, and they sit nice and level. They're not rocking in any way. You know, I might even get a small table somewhere to put down here where we can put our feet up or set a coffee on or a Coke or something. That would be kind of cool, huh? Clear out this whole area and then junk it all up with chairs and tables. Alright, one more thing. The last few months, the last 3 or 4 months, Wifey and I have been paying out a lot of money on various things. I'm talking big chunks of money for things that just came up we didn't expect. I'm talking thousands of bucks here, you know. So I told her, I said, look, we've been spending a lot of money for things that, you know, we weren't responsible for, and I could have had this garage, you know, all the electricity and lights and everything added to this garage 3 or 4 times over. She said, that's right, you could have. I said, well, guess what? Before the end of summer or by the middle of fall, I'm going to bring the guy over. We're going to set this whole, I'm going to tell him what I want, and I'm going to bring him in and have him do it. The only thing that's really holding us up from doing it right now is I have to have this car out of the way. You know, if I tell him I want lights over here, I don't want him standing up on the top of the hood or the roof and have to do it. We need to get this out of the way, put everything in, you know, talk to him what he wants moved out of the way. They come in as a team, they'll wire the whole thing. It's going to be nice. We're going to have 4 outlet boxes all over this place. We're going to have a lights suspended from the ceiling, fluorescent light type things, the big ones, maybe a couple of a set here, a set there, and then over in the very back end right here we'll have like 3. We'll have 1, 2, 3. I want this place lit up. I want a master box here that connects to the breaker panel inside the shop. I want to have a throw handle that cuts all power to this shop. If something were to happen, I don't want to have to run inside the shop and start flipping breakers. I want one handle out here, bam, it'll have separate breakers, of course, for everything, but one pull down handle shuts everything down. Well, it's a new dawn and a new day, and I have dragged out this table to go with the chairs. This also used to sit on our deck, and you know, the legs got a little rusty on the bottom down here, and I put those caps on to prevent it, but it was a little, you know, too little too late. So what's happening here is it's rocking back and forth, as you can see. So I'm going to have to cut the legs off about a 1/2 inch. I'm going to measure it, but it's going to be about a 1/2 inch off of this one. And that one over there, I have them both marked on the glass with the tape. Hoping then I can put those yellow caps back on, and hopefully it'll sit nice and level. We'll see, or at least a whole lot better than it is now. Before I get started here, I wanted to show you something. These are the cutting wheels. I bought 3 or 4 of these at Harbor Freight. They're 3-inch cutting wheel by Warrior. I bought them at the same time I bought my air-operated cutoff tool here. Well, I got news for you. These things suck. They say it's 46 grit metal. They're terrible. They wear down so fast it's not even like having one. So, let me show you what I did. I went over to Lowe's and I picked up these blue fire metal cutting discs. It doesn't say what the grit is, but we're going to give these a try also. There's 2 in a pack. If they don't work, then we'll try a different one from another brand, and eventually I'll get what I want. But you know, cutting off these thin metal legs, cutting those off, I mean, it was like real thin metal. I mean, these things wore down to practically nothing in no time. Look at the size of this one right here. It was like not even having one. I'll go ahead and use the old ones until there's nothing left, and then I'll go ahead and switch to these. But I can tell you that Harbor Freight's Warrior discs, metal cut-off discs, or cut-off wheels they call them, I do not recommend you buy them. Waste of money. Well, we're going to have to do a little change of plans here after I got those yellow caps off. You can see how rusted this thing is all the way up at an angle. They sat on the deck for quite a while. getting rusted. You know, I should have moved them and I didn't, but that's okay. What's done is done. There's only one thing left to do. We're gonna fix it. Yeah, we are. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my favorite YouTube subscribers ruler, old Art up there in New York, Dr. Old's 100. He loves this. He told me, man, that's like the best tape measure you can get. So what I've done is I measured down from the top up here on down, and we're going to cut it off right there at the 2-foot mark. We're going to cut every single leg at the 2-foot mark as measured from there, and, you know, kind of parallel to the bend down here. Cut it off and put the caps on and see what happens. Alright, the burrs are off the last one. We'll go ahead and put the old thing on there. Alright, let's set it up and see how she sits. Well, I'm happy to say it turned out perfect. No more of this bumping back and forth. It's nice and solid, you know, not totally solid, but a whole lot better than it was. I mean, at least all 4 legs are now touching the ground. Oh well, how about that? This would be a good place to come out here and check my eyelids for holes every once in a while. Now our next project involves this little thing right here. Now this old chair may not look like much to some folks, but I'll tell you what, to me it has a lot of meaning. Years and years ago, wifey bought this for me, and I used to use it at Christmas time. We'd set the kids in there on our lap and give them presents to open up and stuff like that. It was kind of our Santa Claus chair. And then one day, somebody sat in it. It was a little too heavy. It had a weak leg to begin with. It was a little too heavy, and they broke the leg right off of it. And I tried fixing it a little bit. Never did put a wholehearted effort into it, but guess what? We're going to put a wholehearted effort into it this time. And see, that leg just doesn't want to cooperate no matter what you do. Little story here. There was a fellow on the antique radio forum named Kurt Reed. He has since died, but he had a kitchen table. I guess he was a divorcee, lived by himself, and his only friends. He was retired. His only friends, I guess, were the squirrels. They'd come around to his door every day and he'd feed the squirrels. And he was on the antique radio forum all the time, extremely knowledgeable electronics guy, ham radio operator for years and years and years. Navy fella, Navy vet. Well, he had a kitchen table in that house with one broken leg on it in that mobile home. And you know, typical guy, instead of fixing it, he said, I just don't feel like doing that. You know, he propped it up with an ammo can, an ammunition can, metal army, I guess it was, green ammo can, and that's what he used to hold up his table for years and years instead of fixing it. Well, every time he'd tell that story, he'd tell it every once in a while. Every time he'd tell that story, I'd think about this chair, and I got it propped up with styrofoam. So no more of that. We're going to work on this thing next. But right now I'm going to call it a day. The temperature out here is scalding hot. The humidity is outrageous. It would kill an ordinary man, like old 64 goat. He'd have been long gone. It is the next day, and we're taking a little closer look at this chair to see what it's going to take to repair the leg. Now, originally, this thing had 3 dowels holding it in. 1, 2, 3. You can see the holes. And somebody just stuck it back up in there and glued it in place. I might have thrown a little glue in there myself. I can't remember. I don't think I put that much. It was just a little wobbly and loose when I got it. But and that's probably why they sold the chair. I think the wifey only paid like 25 bucks for it, which I thought was a good deal. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to use 2 of those dowel holes. This one, we're going to drill it out with this drill right here. It's plenty big enough. It'll do the job. Get that thing out of there. And then once we get it out, once we get all the glue out and all the loose wood removed, so we have a nice wood surface to glue to, I'm going to be using Elmer's wood glue on it, Carpenter's wood glue. That stuff is really, really good. It beats all that stuff, you know, Tight Bond and Gorilla Glue. In my opinion, that stuff doesn't even hold a candle to Elmer's. Anyway, we're going to need dowels. Now, in my last video I did on the repair or restoration of the 1931 airline radio cabinet that we're restoring. That's an ongoing additional video with this one, that for those of you who don't know. But 1931 airline cabinet restoration, it's in the playlist on my channel. And I don't know what we're up to, but we're not quite done yet. I have something that I'm waiting to come through the mail. When it does, then we can go ahead and get that on the cabinet, and then we can go ahead and finish the ceiling and all that other stuff. But I complained that I said, geez, I ran out of foam rubber paintbrushes for putting the sealer on the inside of the cabinet. And I hadn't been able to find them, a bag full of all different sizes. And I told them that I said that the nearest one I know where they might still be is at a flea market up the road quite a few miles. And lucky me, I found one still existing in my garage, and I went ahead and used it and sealed the inside of the cabinet, finished doing that. But that depleted my foam rubber brushes, and I said, I'm just going to have to, I just don't know where to buy them. Well, lo and behold, a couple of days later, here through the mail comes, let me show you what comes through the mail. This bag of, they're very narrow, but they will work. They're foam rubber brushes, and I get 2 bags of these things. And when the package hit the porch, I was like, what the heck is this crap? Who's sending me something? Opened it up, and there these were, and it was from, guess who? Yep, Ron C., our good subscriber Ron C., down in Florida. I don't know what I'm going to do with that boy. I wish I had, I need to start being very quiet about the things I need. If I were to just come out and blurt and say, hey, look, I could use a suitcase full of $100 bills. Well, wait a minute. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. Disregard that comment, okay? Anyway, it turns out that I'm going to go ahead and drill those out, like I said. And I'm going to need some wooden dowels to put in there. And if I drill all the way through, big deal, no problem. I'll just push the dowel all the way through until it's good and secure. It won't matter. It's going to be on the inside here anyway. And I'm going to glue that wooden dowel in. I'm going to go ahead and remove all the glue and everything, and I'm going to recess these holes a little bit deeper. And we're going to grind away all the old glue and get down to a nice wood surface. So I'll have a nice wood surface here, a nice wood surface here. We'll have wooden dowels. And Ron didn't know it at the time, but there's my wooden dowel, Ron. I got a whole bag of dowels. You see, you just got to think outside the box sometimes. And that's what we're going to be using to put in there. We'll glue them in real good. I might even run a long screw all the way through. I don't know. I think the glue, it's not like there's going to be a bunch of kids jumping up and down in this thing. Once I get it properly prepared, and I get the 2 wooden dowels in there, and get a good clamp on it and good glue, I think it'll hold till the cows come home. We'll see. Let me get cranked up on removing the glue with my little rotary tool and gouging bit that I bought. All right. Man, I should have been a dentist. Except for down here where the drill got caught a couple of times accidentally. I guess that would have been the patient's cheek and his neck. We don't care about that. I still would have made a good dentist. Well, this one will take a little bit more work, I guess, than the chair did. It's going to be a slow, easy process, just like drilling out a really bad cavity. All the glue has been removed, and I drilled out the existing dowels that were in there, drilled them down to about a 1/2 inch deep, and they'll be a perfect fit for these little dowels that came off those foam rubber brushes. It's going to be great. But I'm not going to glue them here first. I'm going to glue them into there's a lot of meat that I can drill out if it doesn't exactly fit right. I have a lot of room to play with as far as widening it up. I don't have that kind of luxury on here. I can't go very wide around. It's thinner, and it's just not enough wood there to play with. So if it doesn't quite line up after I've glued them into here, I'm going to do my best to make them line up. But if it doesn't quite do that, I always have plenty of room to widen the hole a little bit until it does. So let's see how she fits first. See if she's going to fit. Well, I think that's going to be pretty good. Let me move it around here. Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty good on both sides. I'll of course clamp it, which will draw it in even further, like that, nice and tight. And we'll have those dowels in there to really help. Lots of glue, wood dowels. As long as I take it easy on the chair, it should never break again. So let's get the dowels glued into here. All I got to do, I'll also drill these out nice and deep too. So I'm only going to use these 2 top holes. I'm just going to take it, stick her down in there with lots of glue, and get it down as deep as I can. Then I'm just going to take my ball peen hammer, and I'm going to tap them all down in there nice and deep. And we're going to let them set overnight. And we'll pick up this video tomorrow. Again, it is the next day. And these things have all, dried. They're glued in nice and tight. Now what I have to do is measure the depth of each of these 2 holes. Now this one here is deeper than this one. Now I'm using a Q-tip I took the cotton off of. I'm just going to stick it down in here. I'm going to mark it with a pencil. And that'll be the bottom one here. We'll mark that with a pencil at the same height. And we'll do the same thing with the top one. And this one will be a little bit longer than this one. And then I'm going to bevel the, or what they call chamfer or bevel the edge of the rod. And maybe even shave it down just a little bit. I don't want to have to jam it down into the hole to check to see if it's going to fit. I want it to be able to go on down there, slip on down there fairly easy. There'll be plenty of room for it, and but it'll still be close enough to the outer edge that the glue will come on up through and glue it nice and tight. So let's get them cut first. Well, I think that's going to do it. I think I've got her cut just about to the right length. If need be, I'll drill these holes a little bit deeper like I said. Let's do a dry fit and see what happens. Alright folks, I think that's just about going to do it. There's going to be some slight crack in there, but once I put the clamp on, I clamp the clamp will go here, and then I have a long one, it'll go down there. That should draw it down about as far as she's going to go. I think that's going to be pretty good. I probably should have used oak dowels for this, but I didn't have any, and I didn't feel like running out and buying a bunch of them just for this tiny little repair. So, those handles on those foam rubber brushes work great, and it's fairly soft wood, I have to tell you, but it'll work good once it's all coated with that glue. That's about the best I can do. I found out that if I put a clamp from here all the way down to the bottom and then start tightening the clamp up, it causes the leg to roll this way. So I took my rubber mallet and I just held it real tight, and in a counterclockwise direction, and just hammered it on down with the rubber mallet until she got about as close as she's going to get, which is pretty good actually compared to what we had. That should be strong enough. I'm just going to let it set for a day or two, and then after it's all secure and I'm kind of happy about it, we'll restaple all the upholstery around the best we can, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove these metal buttons on the bottom of the legs here. I don't like those things. They'll scratch up everything. So I think I can get some padded little round pads to put on there that have nails in the bottom that you can hammer up in there. I'm not sure. I'll take a trip down to Lowe's here one of these days and get that done. But anyway, I'll come out and check on it about every hour on the hour until around 9 o'clock tonight. Make sure it's not drooping down on us. I was going to close out this video here, but I decided against it. Some of you guys want long videos. I'll give you a long video. This is a lamp I bought quite a while ago. A friend of mine, he went out junking one time, or he went to an estate sale, I think it was. Guy I worked with, and he came in with these things in his truck, and he said, I have this lamp here, and it's an old-fashioned lamp, and it has a foot switch on the bottom there. I don't know if you can see that or not. This thing was caught in the flood, as you can see it. I was really upset about that. But anyways, it's got a switch here that probably doesn't even work anymore. We'll have to change it, but you step on the switch and it causes a light to light around the base here. The water may have washed all the painted flowers off of that. I think it affected it somehow. I can see little ripples all the way around. So once we take it apart, I don't know what I'll do. I'll come up with something. But it's a nice night light. You can turn that thing on. It'll light up the floor when you're walking around. And goes back to, I think this is like maybe middle 1950s. Around 1956, 55, 58, somewhere in that area. And it's a 4 light, 3 on the outside and 1 in the middle. And I needed a lampshade for it. And I kept looking and looking. And finally, the other day, when I was down the Salvation Army, I found the perfect lampshade for this. This one right here. Now I need to get a different kind of top to screw it on. I'm going to have to replace all this, put a different kind of light socket in there. But now, it at least, like you can't see much here. Let me get it over here in the light. Now at least it looks like it's supposed to look, okay? So that'll be our next project, probably starting tomorrow. Right now it's getting so hot in here I can't take it anymore. I'll just let the chair dry and we'll see you then. It's been a couple of days now. I've just let this thing sit out here and dry, and I'll tell you what, she's solid as a rock. Now it's not exactly even over here on this edge. The edge sticks out just a little bit. But, you know, hey, we're not going to worry about stuff like that. I got too many other irons in the fire. I asked wifey, I said, what do you want to do with this chair now that I've got it repaired? Or at least, you know, the leg's strong enough to hold people. She said, bring it in the house. I said, bring it in the house? She says, yeah, put it in the living room. I said, are you sure? She said, yeah. Okay, so that's where it's going. I've got to vacuum it all out. I'm going to put this new cloth on the bottom. I'm going to head down to Walmart later. I'll pick up a, you know, some cheap black cloth. I have a power stapler. I can just have to remove all the staples and then staple a new one on. It'll look good when I get done. We'll take it inside. This is kind of an oldie chair. It's got that old burlap webbing in the bottom of it. This is what they call it right there. You know, let's take it apart. Let you see what it looks like. It doesn't matter anyway. This is all being replaced. See, this is they call burlap webbing or strapping, whatever you want to call it. That's the way they used to. And there's springs on the inside. Underneath here is a spring. Big old coil spring. So for Ron C down there in Florida, if you ever need a coil spring for your you know, your tuner string or whatever, just go to a local flea market and pick up one of these chairs and use one of these big old springs in here. That'll work great. All right, let's move on to our next little project. Let's go ahead and get this lamp apart now. And as you can see, I've got it tipped up at the bottom. It's like really loaded with rust. So that baby's going to have to spend some time in the old de-rusto vat. This is our switch right here and our lamp. And it takes a small bulb of some kind. It's probably some little 10 watt or something like that. I don't know. And all they did was splice into the existing wire, the power wire. You know, they cut one side and then cut the other. Then just, you know, spliced into it with the switch wire. And then connected the two back together like that using one of these caps. And they did the same thing for the other side. The other side of the wire, they just cut into the two brown wires. And it seems to me it would have been better if they would have just removed the insulation and then wrapped the wire around the area that was exposed and then, you know, did it that way. But they chose to do it this way. It works just as good, you know, as long as it's safe. Anyway, let's go ahead and get it all apart. This base screws onto there. That's kind of interesting. I thought it would be like a big nut, but that old base, it just screws right on. We're going to have to unscrew it and take it over and put it in the de-rusto vat. We have a couple of things we need to take out of the vat today, so it'll be empty. I'll be able to use it for this. And probably that part way up there on top that's all rusted to pieces. So let's get it apart and see what we've got. Well, I've got her all torn apart, you know, which really wasn't that big of a problem. These, I'm missing a cardboard top that goes over, slides over the top of these right here. I'll have to make one out of a card. I can't, a toilet paper roll or something like that. I don't know. Maybe a double roll, you know, put one round and put a second one around to make it stronger and thicker like this one right here. This is pretty stiff cardboard. Anyway, right here, it came out with one screw. All I had to do was remove this one little screw and the whole top came apart. It went through right there down into that hole over there. So let's go ahead and pull this wiring out and see what we've got here. Here's what they did. There's two wires coming from each of these three lights, and they all lead down to the center mess here. One wire is black, one is white, and you can see it right there. There's a black and a white wire coming out of that tube right there. It's the same way with all three. And what they did was they tied all the white wires together with one wire nut. And then on the black side, they tied 2 of the blacks together into a wire nut. And then the third black wire coming from this one over here connected to the switch here. And the other side of the switch went down to the black wire. So this, instead of having 3 blacks, we have 2 blacks and a switch wire, and then 1 black over here to the other side of the switch. And then of course, you know, this power wire was connected in right here, coming up from let me untangle this a little bit more. Now the power cord wire comes up, of course, and it hooks into the white. This is the power cord wire right here. Hooks into the white, and then from here it goes on up in. And then the other side of the power cord hooks into the that single black wire that runs over to the switch. So that's all there is to it. Really nothing to it. We'll go ahead and get that baby back together and get it working, I hope. The way this thing works is you turn on one switch and all the lights turn on, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. There may be one power switch that leads to them all, and then you can turn this one on and off separately. I think that's the way it works. You know, it puts power to all 3 lights, so you can turn off the center one, the big one, and that'll leave these 3 on. So I guess apparently the only one you can really control is that one here. Alright, I think what we're going to do, this is going to be a longer project than I expected. Too much rust, too many wires, too many other problems. I got to paint it, I got to sand it down, get it, prime it, and all that other stuff. Hopefully, now you can see here, this is what was on the outside of our plastic, and I think it might still be there. I don't know. Looks a little eaten up over time, really rough. But it was smooth at one time and shiny, and it had all kinds of little patterns in it. It looked like marble. I'm going to take it in and give it a wash job and see if there's still some of it left under there, and I'll wind up putting a nice clear coat of enamel on it when we're done. This is all in one piece. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a piece of plastic. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I made it a little bit longer than normal. Some of you guys want as long as possible. Yeah, make them as long as you can. Well, I don't have that luxury, unfortunately. I have a lot of other responsibilities, but I do like to put out one every so often. So I have 2 words of advice here. Buzz, 1151, get working on your garage. You know, look at mine. It's beginning to look very pretty over here. It's beginning to really empty out, and I'm going to get fixing to move all this stuff that way. Again, we're going to have even more room in here. I'll be working on that dresser thing over there. It's, I forget what they call them. It's got the dresser makeup type thing. We have a lady that's going to get that wants it. I want to repair that up, so I'll give us even more room. So Buzz, get working on that trash heap you call a garage out there, okay? And let me see. Well, who was the other one? Oh yeah, I got another bit of advice for old 64 Goat. Tell you what there, Goat, you need any dental work done now that I've worked on that chair. I'm all practiced up on my drilling, so you come on down here and we'll just take real good care of you, boy. Oh yeah, one last thing for old Buzz. When you get your old, your garage cleaned up, you can put some magazines out there. I went downtown, picked up some at a flea market the other day that kind of appealed to me that I have never read. Motor Trend and Car and Driver. Got me another Car and Driver. You know, man magazines, you know. And I even got one that shows Miss America, which is Miss Arkansas, 2016. And while I was there, I didn't forget you, Buzz. I picked you up a couple of magazines also. So when you get your garage cleaned up, you get your table set up and the chair by and everything, you send us a video. You post a video, let us see it, and I'll go ahead and forward the magazines I bought for you. That's it until next time, guys. This is John.